legends, it's 2025 soon, and that means it's time to start looking ahead at some of the future hype trains that we're going to be jumping on. People are looking at making their title runs starting now, and one of them seems to be Paddy Pimblett. That is the fight news that he is hinting at. He has hinted he's going to be fighting Michael Chandler next. Let's get into that right now. Talk about the matchup with Michael Chandler, and also talk about Paddy Pimblett's inevitable run up to the title in 2025. Obviously, that leaves you to ask the question, Dougie, do you really think that Paddy Pimblett will ever be a UFC lightweight champion? God, no. But I am definitely going to be here for the title run. I think it's going to be epic. I think it's going to be one of the more entertaining title runs to watch. Because let's face it, right? You got fighters like Bilal Muhammad. You know, they make a title run so boring, nobody wants to watch it. One of the most boring title runs you've ever seen in your life. Then you've got other fighters like Leon Edwards. Leon Edwards, you know, what was it, like 10 in a row? That's 9 in a row. They go ahead, they make their title run. The best thing to come out of the entire title run is being slightly knocked by Nate Diaz right at the end of a 25-minute affair. But I believe that the Paddy Pimblett title run is actually going to be worth our time, you know? He's going to be getting into on-stage altercations. He's going to be getting into arguments with the press. He's going to be calling people all sorts of breakfast ingredients, you know? I don't know how these other fighters are going to be able to handle it. How is Michael Chandler going to be able to go home and look at himself after he's just been called a bloody spinach? Michael Chandler's going to go home. He's going to be staring in the mirror, you know, oh my God, I can't believe he actually called me a sausage. Am I really a mushroom? During every single Paddy Pimblett fight, not only is there the trash talking, but he's going to get his head rocked. We're going to see him in those do or die moments. The hair's going to be flopping about, and he's going to find a way to latch up a submission right before he gets knocked out. Because Scousers, they just don't get knocked out, mate. So, when you look at all of lightweight in 2025 and the people that are going to be making their title runs, I think Paddy Pimblett, Renato Moicano, these are the guys that are going to make it a little bit more entertaining. So I'm going to put my flag down in Paddy Pimblett's corner, announce that I'm going to be backing him. And if the whole point of the UFC is entertainment, as we have discovered over the Christmas break, if you've been watching the videos, then let's just go for it. Let's be entertained. You know what I'm saying, boys? That once you're on it, right, there's no point just being on the tip. You might as well just enjoy the whole thing. What am I even saying anymore? Like, as you guys all know, or maybe you don't. Maybe, unlike me, you don't bother to check the MMA news because it's Christmas and it's Boxing Day and you're with your friends and your family and you have a life. But if you are like me and you come home from the family barbecue as quickly as possible because you can't stand the whole family just arguing with each other all day while you sweat it out in the backyard at near 90-degree heat wave, then you will know that Paddy Pimblett has announced his next fight, and it is going to be against the one and only Michael Chandler. Now, that is speculation. The only reason that we know it's going to be against Michael Chandler is because he signed off his video with, "See you at the top, lad." Very cryptic message from Paddy. Very cryptic. How could we have guessed who his next fight is going to be? I bet Paddy Pimblett's password on his computer is just password 1 with creativity like that.
Subscribe and I'll see you at the top.
But how do we think the fight will actually go? I think Paddy Pimblett is going to put a clinic on Michael Chandler. Now, I've been very, very, very mean to Paddy Pimblett in the past. I really have. I do think his boxing defensively, his striking defensively definitely has holes in it. Absolutely it has holes in it. But let's not pretend that Michael Chandler is any good. Without the Tony Ferguson win, Michael Chandler is 1-4 in the UFC. Michael Chandler is the man of a moment. He has a great moment. And what we've seen with Paddy Pimblett is that he can survive a moment. You've got to put together a decent combination. You've got to put together a decent sequence, some finishing abilities to actually get Paddy Pimblett out of there. Now, I'm not saying that Michael Chandler won't have his moment, but I think that his moment is going to be big enough to get it over Paddy Pimblett? No, I don't. Especially when all Michael Chandler does is watch training footage of Josh Emmett and go, yeah, that's good. That's what I need to do. And he just wades forward with the big old meaty hooks, okay? And Paddy Pimblett, he's going to know how to dance out of the way of those big old meaty hooks from Michael Chandler. I honestly believe that if Michael Chandler tries his regular garbage of just barreling forward, his wish.com BDP style of just going forward. Then Paddy Pimblett is just going to easily dance around him, land a counter shot so perfectly, it just knocks Michael Chandler down on his ass, and Michael Chandler's doing that stunned fish thing where he's sitting there on his bum with two of his hands out looking up like he can't believe what just happened to him, like he just pulled a fish out of the water. Michael Chandler, my whole garage shook. Michael Chandler's just sitting there flopped, looking up like, oh my God, I've been rocked. That's exactly what Paddy Pimblett's going to do if Michael Chandler tries to Drickus du Plessis his way forward. All Chandler's going to see in that moment is just his career ending in front of him, how he sat out on the sidelines for 2 years waiting for Cokehead McGregor to realize that he was never coming back to the UFC, getting 10-8'd in every single round nearly by Charles Oliveira, and then watching as Paddy Pimblett comes down to finish him off. And the entire time, all you'll be able to hear in the arena is just the sound of MMA Joey laughing from a basement somewhere, sitting there pissing himself laughing, watching Michael Chandler's career get washed down the drain by Paddy Pimblett. 2025, not going to be a good year for Michael Chandler. And when you actually stop and look at the lightweight rankings themselves, once you go through Michael Chandler, you're there at number 7. Dustin Poirier goes in, gets his last dance in against maybe a Gaethje, or who knows, maybe it's going to be Max Holloway. Who knows, right? But the point is, Dustin Poirier is going to get his last fight in, and then he's going to retire, and Dustin Poirier is going to disappear from the rankings, and all of a sudden everyone moves up one spot, and Paddy Pimblett, he goes from ranked number 7th to ranked number 6. And if I'm sitting there and I'm Paddy Pimblett and I'm looking at like a 34, 35-year-old Dan Hooker in 2025, that's a good matchup. That's a good matchup, especially if Dan Hooker is still there clinging on to his top 5, right? You got yourself a very winnable, fun, exciting matchup in the top 5 for lightweight. And we all know lightweight, it's a merry-go-round, right? Right now, we got Islam Makhachev, Arman Tsarukyan. Islam's going to beat Arman Tsarukyan, obviously. Then it's going to be Islam Makhachev versus Charles Oliveira. Islam's going to beat Charles Oliveira, obviously. It's looking really good for Paddy Pimblett. Really good to make a decent title run this year. This is why Paddy should be locked in. Towards the end of the year, you got Paddy Pimblett versus Dan Hooker for the number 1 contender shot, the UFC. What's the point of doing a rematch, Islam Makhachev and Dan Hooker? Last time Islam Makhachev finished Dan Hooker like that. It's much easier to sell the Paddy Pimblett English hype train. This is all coming together. Unless Ilia Topuria just barrels into lightweight and makes a big name for himself, or Max Holloway has an absolutely stunning year. There are a few other people in contention, but let's face it, 2025, it's time to get on the Paddy wagon, right? Get on board. Who do you want to get behind? It's not going to be Gamrot. We don't want to get behind Gamrot. He's not going anywhere in 2025. Tsarukyan, he's skilled. He's very, very skilled. But where's the fun? Where's the banter? Where's the point of the UFC? Where's the entertainment? Moicano, Fiziev, Hooker, and Paddy. That is the future of lightweight in 2025, okay? Especially Fiziev, considering that he was robbed against Justin Gaethje. I'll never forget it, and I'll never let it go. But you let me know, which horse are you backing in the 2025 lightweight picture? I'm loving the new crop. I think lightweight absolutely needs it. Or are you still one of the old heads? Are you still going to be backing Holloway? I know Holloway's new to lightweight, but you know what I mean. He's been rolling around for 1,000 years. He's making his lightweight run now. So is Holloway new for lightweight, or is he part of the old guy? You let me know. Because it's hard to say like Holloway's a new head since we've seen so much of him. But he is technically a new head to lightweight. So you let me know, is Holloway part of the new guard, or are you going to be back in the old guard? You know, the Chandlers, the Dustins, the Gaethjes. Are you pumped for them to push back the new kids for yet another year like they seem to just consistently do every single time? You know, they push back Fiziev, they push back BSD. They're damn good at it, mate. Let me know what you think down there in the comments, just like Mean Mr. Bean did a couple of days ago in my Israel Adesanya video. He says, I don't think it's a bad call out at all, to be fair, Dougie. He says if Izzy calls out Chimaev and doesn't get the matchup, he still gets the attention and the credit for a gutsy call out. That's true, Mean Mr. Bean. He does. People are going to say, hey, Izzy isn't scared to fight anyone. And if he does get the matchup and loses, it'll most likely be by submission. So he can dismiss it with the usual, he didn't want to stand with me, which again, there is a built-in excuse. You could say that Chimaev was too scared to fight Israel Adesanya man to man. That's not a bad one, Mean Mr. Bean. Mean Mr. Bean goes on to say, if he does get the matchup and he wins, he gets his hype back and another title shot. That is true. It is sort of like a win-win for Israel Adesanya. If he loses, it'll be by submission. But if he wins, hype and glory, sir. hype and glory as Izzy moves forward on a 36-year-old title run. Not unheard of, but oh my God, he'd be breaking record. And then contender Izzy would well and truly be back. And to quote the words of Hunter Campbell, he would steal all of that hype. So yeah, actually not a crazy idea from Israel Adesanya. Thanks for the feedback and the comment, Mean Mr. Bean. Love seeing you in the live streams as well. If you want to join in on the fun like Mean Mr. Bean does, who I see around on the live streams, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And if you want to know when I go live, hit the bell button next to it. If you're already on board with the channel, please let me know who are you going to be getting behind in the lightweight 2025 title run picture. Let me know about it down there in the comments and hit that like button to help this channel grow. And until then, boys, you all have a great Christmas break, New Year's Eve, and I will see you all in the next video.